Hi. Are you interested in never eating sugar again? Okay, so I'm so not interested in that. I love sugar, love sugar. And I want to talk about the sugar addiction that most empaths have and the potential to soften the edge of the addiction. So I have graduated from a place where I was eating 12 donuts in one sitting and then puking them up, to a place where I was able to just eat 12 donuts in one sitting, to a place where I can eat one sweet a day, and now to a place where when I eat processed sugar, which is a conscious choice for me now, then I actually enjoy it. So I used to eat from this place of, and look, here I have my little Starbucks coffee. So listen, this is not about nutrition. This is not about nutrition at all. So all you nutritionists who are going to say you have to cut sugar, got it. I'm not here to tell you that. I'm here to help you not play tricks with your mind about your own addictions. So I used to be a member of Overeaters Anonymous, and my name is Stacy. I am an addict. Thank you for letting me share. I wanted that to not be my story. And I have since decided to graduate from the program itself because I believe that we are to let the program work through us, not work the program constantly. So the tool that I'm going to teach you today, you might already know, and it's tapping. And I want to say the same thing about using tapping. I don't necessarily think that we should use tapping in times of crisis, right? So a lot of it's on sugar, specifically on sugar. And maybe on anything that you're addicted to, but in a time of crisis, when we start to use tapping, we're using it in a way that we have a need that's unmet. Instead of actually doing tapping scripts when we're in a place of ease and we can make conscious decisions. So I'm going to walk you through a tapping script about sugar today. And I want you to actually just let it happen. Like, let the work do something through you instead of coming back to it every day and going, oh, let me do that tapping script that Stace did because I need that. That frequency of an unmet need mixed with tapping keeps us in an addictive space. So when you do the work from a relaxed space, let the work for you. Don't come back to it and try to make something work on you, right? That is the beginning of an addiction, right? We want to get you out of the way of your addiction. And it's funny because, again, if you are talking to the wrong person about using their voice, using their inner voice, like we as people, we have been a person that doesn't have a lot of guts, right? There's other people who are really gutsy and they operate from their guts, but we operate from our head and we lock down our voice and we're not very guttural until we give birth or like have a real reason to be. That's outside of us usually. We don't get that guttural for the sake of ourselves, which I believe is the work of what we're doing. So from a guttural space, being an empath and being a sensitive person, you're already prone to addictions. Addictions on a cellular level, if you step into the consciousness of a single cell in your guts, they have a way of quieting and making all of the cells contract, right? If you have an addiction, you probably believe you're too much. There's an underlying idea that you're not allowed to take up space. There's a hiding when you are taking up space, like eating sugar in the closet so you're not seen doing the deed, right? This transcends so many things. My mom used to buy all of these things and hide them in my closet. She never even wore them, and she would stuff them and hide them, and it was okay to have the thing as long as nobody saw you have the thing, right? And I have since learned that our secrets are our only real enemy, and that what's true about vulnerability, a lot of people say, thank you for your vulnerability, but the truth is I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, and what A Course in Miracles would say in my own interpretation is that actually you are invulnerable. And my interpretation of that is that when I am humanly vulnerable, when I am a human, I am invulnerable Because what's true, and I always used to say this, and I didn't really know, like I knew it was true, but I didn't have any authority like A Course in Miracles to back it at the time. But I always used to tell people the truth will find itself out. Like, don't defend yourself. There's absolutely no reason for that. It's the same concept with vulnerability. If you are standing in your vulnerable truth, you become invulnerable because there's nothing left there. Somebody could try to use yourself against you, but when you're super vulnerable to what's true about you, it doesn't matter what they try to use against you because your cards are your cards and there's nowhere to go but the truth, right? So that makes you invulnerable. Like, you could kill me, but my truth would still stand. So we want to actually get to a space where we can see our true vulnerabilities as our truest power because it's the truth. And the truth inevitably makes us powerful. It makes us invulnerable to those things that we're so afraid are going to come at us. So I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but when it comes to sugar, a lot of us are going, I can't eat sugar. Sugar is bad. Let me go hide while I'm eating sugar. Let me not be seen while I'm eating sugar. Because that would make me vulnerable to something. That would make me vulnerable to judgment, usually. And the weird thing is we have this loop in terms of food and love. And it's usually, when I did a lot of this work with my own sugar addiction, I felt very disloyal to my mother if I stopped eating sugar. When I became a vegetarian, they would still put meat on my plate and say, like, you're just insane, right? So if I tried to step out of the program, it wasn't easy for me. Let me just say that. And the psychological ramifications of that are that you feel like you're betraying the people who have taught you the program, right? So to step out of my sugar addiction, I had to get over the sense that my eating sugar was the loyalty to my mother. She always wanted to have her own bakery, and she made all of the sweets in the world that you could ever possibly want, but then would also like tell me not to eat them because I was fat. Nothing ever made sense, but that's really what she could give. That was what she could give. She was very good. She's a very good baker. So me and my sugar addiction was, okay, my mother likes this. My mother loves sugar. If I can connect with sugar, I can connect with my mother because that's something that we both have in common, right? Separating that was, that's a long time in the making in the psyche, to even be able to see that. To be able to embody, it's a whole different reality, and it takes time to move matter. So everybody who's going, oh my God, I should be over this. I'm like 60 years old. I should know this by now. Dude, get over it. Moving matter takes time. You will blow circuits if you move matter too quickly. So there's deeper layers to this, usually, about sugar and sugar addiction. But I want to say you can stop your sugar addiction. You can take the idea that you're even addicted to sugar off the table by, first of all, admitting that you really like sugar. And every time that you're eating sugar, instead of going, this is bad, I shouldn't be doing this, or I'm doing this because I'm trying to connect to something because I have an emotional problem, this is really fucked up that I'm doing this, but I'm doing it anyway. That is, one, your cells are going to get sluggish because they're trying to process sugar, which they're not supposed to be doing. But two, you're sending them a message, a vibrational message, that I am poisoning myself because I am bad. I am bad. Sugar is bad. This is bad. We are bad. And those little cells go in your guts. So here's the thing, and this is the bad advice that people are going to judge me about. If you're going to eat sugar, enjoy it. Love it. Acknowledge that this isn't what I'm doing. I am looking my partner or my parents in the face, eating a box of cookies while they're telling me I'm fat, and you know what? I love sugar. I'm gonna love this anyway. If you're going to do it like that. If you're not going to do it, see, here's the thing, we try to trick ourselves. We go, oh, I'm gonna eat fruit to satisfy my sugar craving. And the mind doesn't work like that, because the mind doesn't see it's not the same thing to the mind and to the body. Like, fruit in the morning is not the same thing as the sugar that we're used to. So it's just kind of overlaying one addictive behavior for the other. And that's not what we want to do, because we want to actually get to the root of moderation and the root of why you're even about to shove it in your mouth in the first place. And when you're conscious and present with it, you actually become full. It's a whole different experience, right? So if you're going to eat sugar, admit that you like it and admit that it's good. And when you're eating it, be like, yeah, this is really good. This is really good, because you're not giving your cells a double whammy, right? Your guts are already going, you know, all of these things are flying in at us that we have to, like, we're going to be more sluggish, which we need, right? Because we think we're too much. So we use sugar to go, I can numb myself down like they told me I should. So everything in me finds it harder to work, so I'm not too much for them, right? And then it has a lot to do with our desire to not have needs and not take up space. So we'll take the last sweet thing that we can without being looked at, or we'll go get the sweet thing that we can and hope that nobody sees that secretly we want something. We want something and it's a candy bar, or we want anything at all. But the only thing we really think that we are allowed to have is sugar that's going to poison us, or something that's toxic for us, right? So you can take sugar off the table. Like, sugar for you can be a choice, but it can also be a non-choice. And starting January 1st, for me, this year particularly, I just took it off the table. It was a non-choice. I wasn't going to eat sugar for 30 days. Guess what? The second I took it off the table, and when I really looked at it, because you can only really make a choice about sugar when you are in a place of knowing that it's actually a choice and it's actually a not choice, right? Not making a choice about sugar is a choice. Making a choice about sugar is a choice. Both of those things are a choice. And when you make a choice to take it off the table, when you're conscious of that, you go, yeah, well, I'm powerless to my addiction over sugar. Okay, that might or might not be true, but you are more powerless to the ambivalence in your mind that says, well, I shouldn't be eating sugar, but I really love sugar. I shouldn't be eating sugar, but I really love sugar. I should eat sugar because that's the way I knew I was loved when I was a kid, or that's the only thing I could get, so I took it as a substitute. And if I don't have that, then I am nothing. And the thing is, when it comes to the program, in terms of my mother and the program and being disloyal to the program, when you then kind of rebel against the program, you're rebelling. Our like desire to go and get the last resource is, and this is like symbolic in food, like let me go get that another piece of food. Like I didn't even taste what I ate, but like let me just get it all in there and stuff myself. So there's something covering me, right, that makes me feel safe and blanketed so I don't come out too much. We have a tendency to rebel against the program that we were raised on also. So we're in a loyalty to it and also a rebellion against it by going, well, I shouldn't be eating the sugar. I have to be eating the sugar because this is what my family does, and I shouldn't be eating the sugar because, you know, whatever it is that we have reasons that if somebody tells us don't eat sugar, which is often what happens in these families, it's just like, you can eat it, but know how to moderate yourself. And we're not those people, right? So we actually use that thing that they're telling us not to do to rebel against the very program. And then that program inevitably, when we grow up, becomes a self-rebellion against ourselves. And then we make ourselves toxic and poisoned. And then we get cancer at 19 and have to deal with that. And then we get to teach people awesome shit that we learn throughout the process. But the point is that the rebellion against the program, as always, is still a loyalty to the program. So to get out of the program, we have to understand that our identity of being a sugar eater is really the thing that stands in between ourselves and our sugar addiction, right? We have the, I'm going to stuff myself down. I'm going to not be too big for my britches. My identity as such is that I am a sugar eater. I eat with people socially over sugar. I eat by myself so I don't be seen eating sugar. There is an identity associated with being the person who eats sugar. And you might not want to make waves for people by being like, no, I don't eat that. They're going to look at you and be like, what do you mean you don't eat sugar? You think you're better than us? Like, whatever, all those things that come up. And there is an identity loss that comes from everything that we give up. And I am not a person who believes in subtraction in life. I think that we should always be adding something. But in the case of subtracting sugar, I want you to see that we add ourselves. right? In the case of subtracting a whole bunch of people from our lives who weren't good for us, we make a lot of space for ourselves. So there is more value actually in this process of recognizing what you are getting the benefit of adding on to yourself, which is that like, ooh, maybe I am a little bit bigger than they would like me to be. And maybe I can tolerate that for like a little bit and then I'll have sugar. That's cool. Let me just feel like what it's like for me to be bigger than they want me to be for a minute. So this is normally the underlying root is with sugar addiction has to do with taking up space as far as I can see. And then you get fat, so you have an excuse to take up space, or you hide your sugar addiction in I'm not trying to take up space, but I'm really trying to take up space, right? I hope that makes sense. So here, let's do a script really quickly. I'm going way over, longer than I wanted to, but I want to tap on the identity piece that's associated with a sugar addiction. So if you don't know what tapping is, it's EFT, it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and this is just one of many ways that you can tap, and it's one of many tools, and it's one of many scripts that you can tap on. But I was going to do a tapping session with a client, but I figure instead of using her personal time for it, I would offer her this video along with you guys so she can just do it on her own and have more time. So just follow my tapping points. They're called twin points, so you don't have to do either side. And just repeat after me, okay? Even though I am addicted to sugar, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have an identity that's wrapped up in being a sugar eater, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I only know myself as a person who eats sugar, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I don't know who I'll be on the other side of not eating sugar, and even though I'm afraid that I'm going to step out of the program, the program that keeps me connected to the people that I love, and the program that kept me safe inside of myself all these years. There's a little tender point under your armpit that you're going to feel. It's like kind of right here. Search for it. Feel into it. It'll be a little tender. It's always tender for me. Even though I'm not sure who I'll be with the identity of being somebody who's not a sugar eater, and I'm not sure I'll like it, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel disloyal to the program and disloyal to the people that raised me, and I'm not sure who I'll be or how I will receive love if I give up this thing, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I've used sugar to save me all these years, and I'm still not quite sure that I don't need saving, I'm willing to be a person who knows myself without sugar. Even though I don't know who that person will be, I'm willing to find him or her out. Even though the truth is I really want to keep eating sugar and heal at the same time. And I haven't yet found a balance. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though my relationship with sugar feels a little bit out of my control, I'm willing to be in a new relationship with sugar in a way I do not yet know. even though I have to tap because I don't really understand my relationship with sugar or its power it has over me. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So, like I said in the beginning, let that work through you. Don't try to cling and catch it. Just trust it. And if you're going to eat the sugar, know that it's literally a relationship that you have with it, that if you're going to do it anyway, you may as well start to love it. And when you love it, in a true sense, you stop rebelling against it. And when you stop rebelling against it, it stops having a grip over you. And when it stops having a grip over you, you can eat sugar instead of be eaten by sugar. Okay?